right, welcome into the Cover Story podcast. I'm Jack and he is Mac, and we are on a never-ending quest to make you some racks. This is the first chapter of the Cover Story. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Mac, this has been a long time coming. A lot of things in the background have been happening. We've been seeding out some social media pics, but recording number one, we finally got to it.
We are finally here. Very exciting. It's going to be fun for our current followers to put a name to face with some of the absolute electric picks we've been sending out the last few weeks. But really excited, obviously, just to be able to expand more on this passion project of ours and really fine tune kind of what we want to be able to get you guys when it comes to insights, picks. We're gonna have a lot of fun stuff to talk about on this first episode. So excited to get going.
Yeah, I mean, we picked a little bit of a tumultuous time to get going. You know, the MLB playoffs are firing away in the division series. The NHL season just started yesterday. Obviously, we're in the swing of things with college football, with the NFL, and some European football, global football. I know we're going to touch on that too. But just to set the stage here, I want to give everyone an insight into what we're going to be doing. We're going to have an episode going out live on Thursdays, so you'll get all of your weekend football action. Whatever's been going on in the week ahead. Before that, we'll get some recap for you as well. But really, we're going to want to make sure you have all the insights and the really key analysis that's going to help you find those winners on the board for the rest of the weekend and early slate there. But you know, Mac, why don't we just kind of go forward with your specialties, what people can expect from you. I'll follow up with some of my areas of expertise as well. But when it comes to can't miss plays from Mac Trowbridge, what should the people expect?
Yeah, no. My biggest thing, and if you haven't followed us already on our socials or familiar with Jack and I will be heavily focusing on footy, European soccer. So my biggest thing is we're going to be talking about obviously top five leagues: Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga, Liga Portugal, League One in France. Of course, we're going to be covering Champions League, Europa Conference, MLS. We are now, of course, in a time where we are now on international break. So we have some World Cup qualifiers. So today we're going to be touching on some of those UEFA World Cup qualifiers coming up here. I'm feeling very bullish from recent performances of our U.S. men's national team, and we got a couple friendlies. So be on the lookout. I may share some picks on that as well. But today we're going to be primarily focusing on UEFA World Cup qualifiers, to correct myself there. But moving forward, it's going to be all footy from me.
And so I noticed you said the big five leagues, and you listed off probably about seven or eight before we got to MLS.
Yes.
What's the deal there? We have
Yes.
Messi, dude. We have Messi.
That's a valid point. Valid point. I should say MLS. The way I view MLS from a betting standpoint is you're looking at these games and essentially you are 8 to 10 beers deep, and you're at the bar and you see a 10 walk in, um, and then you get really excited about that prospect or that idea of approaching, discussing, smoozing, if you will. But then later on in the night, you realize uh, it was an absolute coin flip. Um, could have been something completely different, and you get let down somewhat often. Now, having said that, bringing up Messi, Inter Miami tends to be a very profitable club to be looking at. Having said that, there is some favoritism for that club. I think the MLS in itself likes to see them win, so it's not a bad club to back up. But there's a lot of other clubs out there that do not get as much limelight that are also being given really juicy lines and a lot of profit to be made. So we'll definitely be diving into that.
Interesting. So MLS rigged. Watch out for Miami. Could be profitable, but also could be the rejection that many people face late in the evening and wondering where they are going to find the companionship to bring
Spot
home.
on. Spot on.
Beautiful. Well, excited to hear more about that. And from what everyone can expect from me, as you can see here, I have my wonderful Missouri hat on here if you're watching at home on the YouTube. So you're going to expect a lot of American football from me, whether it's college, whether it's NFL. Um, The NHL season just started, so we're going to be diving into puck lines, looking for those, you know, little nuggets that are going to say, hey, that empty netter is going to get there. So we're going to go and take the puck line. We'll chase the 1.5. We're going to find the overs. You know, it's McDavid versus the Leafs. Nobody plays defense in that. We're going to go and hammer some overs there. So the NHL insights. And then, you know, we have a little bit of the MLB season left here. Obviously, we're in the heart of the postseason. We are in October. So we're going to get some picks in for pretty much every game that you're going to see down the stretch here. And then, you know, once the old round ball rock starts up again, the NBA gets back into the swing of things. We're probably going to be taking some real chances on some first baskets. Those are always electric if you've never taken that bet. We'll see what's going on in the NBA. I know LeBron just had his big decision 2.0, which ended up being an ad for Hennessy. So for all of you that was wondering if the retirement tour was going to start, you're going to have to wait for another edition of LaFraud.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You're going to see a lot of the American sports, the North American sports coming from me. And when needed, when majors are happening, we'll sprinkle in some golf, we'll sprinkle in some tennis. You can bet that there's going to be some action we'll be on. But should we dive into things here with the college football slate? Do we want to start there, Matt?
I think that's a great call. I mean, we got some exciting games coming up this Saturday.
We do indeed. And one that kicks off at noon Eastern is near and dear to my heart. That is a top 15 matchup. Number 8, Alabama, the once mighty Alabama, goes to Columbia, Missouri. Como will be rocking. Do not know how a top 15 matchup's being played at 12 in the afternoon, but number 14, Missouri, hosting Alabama. Bama is a 3-point favorite. Total sitting at 51.5 right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Undefeated Missouri coming off a bye week, taking on Alabama. Their lone loss, obviously, coming the first week of this season on the road at Florida State. Couple of SEC powerhouses going at it, dare I say? Dare I say?
Dare you say? Dare you say? Indeed. I mean, what? Obviously, I'm not as well tuned on Mizzou football as you are, Jack. So all I know is I myself lost money to Bama in that Georgia game. So that scared me a little when it comes to fading those guys down in Tuscaloosa. So I'm curious your take on what you think there.
Well, this is going to be a completely unbiased and analytical take here. The first we're going to fire off. Kalen DeBoer
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have it. Doesn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone says he's the best. He brought Washington up from the depths. He doesn't have it in Alabama. I'm going to take Mizzou. I'm going to take the over. And here's why. Bo Perbula, former Penn State quarterback. Everyone should know him now. Probably not going to get any Heisman recognition, but he's been phenomenal for the first few weeks in Columbia. Coach Eli Drinkwitz has the boys rolling. Kirby Moore, offensive coordinator, has found the 1-2 punch that everyone needs to follow. Todd Hardy, University of Louisiana Monroe transfer. I think he's averaging like 180 some odd yards a game on the ground. And
Okay.
Bo Perbula. Those are the two straws that stir the drink for the Mizzou offense. You also have a guy by the name of Kevin Coleman, who is a wide receiver transfer from Mississippi State. He's wearing number 3, formerly worn by Luther Burden III. And you know what? If you haven't picked up on a bit of a trend here, it's the transfers that are really going to get this team moving. We got a couple on the defensive side as well. Jeremiah Trotter, son of a former NFL linebacker, brought him over from West Virginia. D-line Zoo is alive. They are feisty as ever. And we're the only team in the country that has a top 5 rated defense and a top 5 rated offense. Take Missouri. Take a chance on the Tigers. This is when we launch our national campaign. Don't know how it's not game day. Don't know how it's not a night game. But alas, we've been sitting comfortable at home. This is our 6th home game of the year. We've started 6 straight games at home. We're going to put a nice stamp on this one.
Now, before we dive into some of the other games, I have to ask one last question on this one because I know there's a lot of emotion connected to this pick, but just for our viewers out there that are not alum of your alma mater, uh, you just mentioned top 5 D, top 5 offense. Have they played anyone significant so far this year?
So they have played the University of Kansas if you've heard of the fake Bama
Rivalry
that's over
game.
there
I
in
mean,
Florence. Rivalry
that's
game,
big. I
yes.
think that's still there's some validity to that. Sure.
Yes, they played the University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks, Lenora Sellers, preseason Heisman darling, took care of business there, wiped the floor with them, no problem, took home the Mayor's Cup. So yeah, I think we've played some legitimate teams here. We have a pretty difficult SEC schedule coming down the line here, but we've taken care of business against some of the non-conference opponents by the name of mighty school from up northern Mass, Mass Minutemen. So we took care of business there. But yeah, we've taken down an SEC opponent already this year, beaten a Big Ten team that had a lot of hype coming in. Rivalry game, as you said, the first time it was played in Columbia in I think somewhere close to 16 years. Been 14 since we played them, so a lot of juice in that game. But yeah, I think Bama they're riding high off that Georgia win.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be a little look ahead spot for them. I don't think they're ready to go to Columbia. A little sleepy 11 a.m. Central start time. It's going to be hard for the Tide to wake up for this one.
Yeah, no, you know what I get, and for those listening or watching, what you're going to start seeing trends is Jack, of course, is a very data and analytical type of pick or recommend the he's the data guy. We'll just say that. I'm going to be a lot for sports I don't follow. You're going to get a lot of emotional recommendations from me. So, in this particular game, I'm going to be riding with Mizzou as well, because obviously my co-host and buddy here, Jack, is going to be rooting for them. So, got to root with the boys there, which then leads us to, for our next game, um, I'm really curious about this one. I think this is going to be a very intriguing one. Number 1, Ohio State playing at number 17, Illinois.
What do we got for the line there? Last I looked, I think it
Minus
was
14 and a half
okay,
for the
yes.
Buckeyes.
Buckeyes
Yeah, and
still
then
getting over 2 touchdowns. Interesting.
and over 49 and a half. So, I mean, just watching. I've been able to watch some of the Illinois games this year and followed some of the Ohio State games. The over doesn't seem too wild. I'm not too familiar with some of their defensive numbers or stats, so maybe you could share some insights on that, Jack. But just from an emotional standpoint, I think with what we're seeing in Illinois, right, this kind of new Cinderella story, I am infatuated with this plus 14 and a half for Illinois. I think Ohio
Okay.
State hasn't really impressed me that much. They barely beat a Texas team, which we will be discussing here momentarily, that, in my opinion, was the most overhyped and overrated team in the entire country. I'm sorry, Mom. My mom went to Texas. She's an alum. When you're listening to this, you're probably agreeing with me well, but they're absolute trash. Arch Manning's going to be flipping burgers in 3 years after he blows out all of his NIL money. And Ohio State
Golden Arches. It's right in the name.
It's meant to be. It is meant to be. And I just don't see Ohio State blowing out Illinois here. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know if Illinois is going to pull off the upset, but I don't see Ohio State winning by more than 2 touchdowns.
So I like what you're saying. I like a lot of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is in college football, the theme typically goes bigger, faster, stronger. And
Makes
Ohio
sense.
State has the biggest, the fastest, and the strongest unit of players in any program that we have. And I would say that is their defense. Their defense is phenomenal. So that 49 and a half, it may seem low. I do like your idea of Illinois keeping it close. I think 14 and a half is too many points. I am a little scared at the fact that Illinois got blown out by Indiana just a couple weeks ago, but they did right the ship last week. They're obviously still hanging around in the top 25. But I think Big Noon Kickoff is going to Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. So they're gonna have some juice there in Champaign, and I think I'll ride with you on the 14 and a half for Illinois to save that 2 touchdown deficit. But I think I'm going to be leaning towards the under in a Saturday morning rock fight. Lots of ground and pound,
Yeah.
and I think Ohio State's defense is going to make it tough for Illinois to score. So I could see a 24 to 13, 24-13
Okay.
win for Ohio State.
Yeah.
So if I can do some simple math here, that'd be what, 37 points?
Yeah. Spot on.
Yep, we'd be covering. the 14.5 and the under, but
by a
yeah,
good amount. Yeah.
I would like to see that game be played out pretty tough by Illinois, but I do think Ohio State is the better team. I think they are the best team in the country.
Mm.
Julian Sayin, the quarterback, he is starting to come into his own. I think they've been working him into the system, and I think the team is going to start to hit their stride. I think they've been kind of dialing it back a bit. They've been riding in, second, third gear. And as they start to hit the heart of that Big Ten schedule, I think they're really going to start ramping it up. And you'll see what this Ohio State roster really is capable of in the coming weeks.
Well, it's going to be another good one to be able to keep an eye on. And of course, as mentioned, and as always, we'll be saying this throughout the show, we will be sharing our specific picks leading up to all these games, whether it's college football, NFL, MLB, every American sport, every non American sport, you name it. Be on the lookout, follow our socials. We'll be getting into those picks prior to kickoff, to the tip off, to the first pitch, and you name it. So I think a good segue, you'd mentioned Indiana beating Illinois earlier this season, which takes us to our next college football slate of number 7 Indiana at number 3 Oregon in Eugene. We have the
College game
line.
day.
That's gonna be an interesting one because that's at -7.5 for Oregon, and the over under at 55.5. Now, this is, I will say I'm a bit torn on this one because I actually had an infatuation with Oregon when I was growing up. My friends and I, in fact, would get their jerseys in middle school because that was when they started really becoming known for their Nike apparel, very flashy, very over the top. We became kind of Oregon fans at that point. So I have a bit of an emotional connection that brings just a bit of nostalgia that I like to tend to root for. But having said that, my fiance went to IU, so
Maybe a stronger emotional connection
I
for
would
you
say
there then.
I would have to say there's definitely a stronger connection there. Um, yeah, definitely a stronger connection. I was just wondering if she was listening to this or not. She will hopefully eventually. If not, uh, she's not supportive, and we'll have to have a conversation. But I think it's tough because a 7.5 spread is just gross in these type of games. Indiana, we saw it last year, right? They were blowing everyone away. They were one of the hottest stories in the year, but then the moment they faced an actual legitimate like top 10 top football program, they got absolutely blown out of the water. So is that what's going to be happening this weekend? Are they going to be able to come competitive, in Eugene in that atmosphere? I don't know. So I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on this because I do think it is going to be a fun one, at least to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, you know, the game of the weekend. Obviously, college game day is going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Oregon coming off the win against Penn State 2 weeks ago.
Massive. Yeah.
They seem to be legit. Although that game was touch and go for a while, I feel
Yeah.
like, and then they finally pulled away towards the end. Um, Kurt Signetti, the head coach at Indiana, intrigues me though. He's a mouthy one. He knows his program doesn't get the national recognition he believes they deserve, anyways. Last year, everyone touted their schedule to be terrible, and they thought they only made it to the playoff because of the schedule. Like you said, once they got there, it didn't exactly end well. He had a couple, you know, late scores against Notre Dame to make that one look close. If you just see the box score, whoever watched that game knows that it was not close. Notre Dame handled them very, very easily en route to losing a national championship to the Ohio State. But I think this team's a little bit different. I think they've taken some punches. I think a lot of times, we say this a lot with pro teams. You got to make it to the finals. You got to make it to the conference finals. You take your loss, you learn from it, you come back, and that's how you grow and you take that next step. Um, and I think Indiana's done that this year. I think they are a pretty legitimate top 10 team in the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten, obviously, between them and the SEC, are the two premier conferences.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm taking Oregon. I think Indiana is going to completely look in disarray in Eugene under the lights. It's going to be rocking. That duck is going to be doing a zillion push-ups.
They're not
Give
used
me
to it.
Oregon to give
Yeah.
me Oregon to cover, and I think they win by maybe 2 scores.
Wow, maybe 2 scores. I mean, it's hard for me to argue there. I think Indiana is a program that is just now starting to get the taste of what it's like to be kind of a top 10 program or somewhat of a powerhouse program. they're starting to get that recognition. But to your point, it's not as consistent. It's not as much as they feel it should be. So I think they're still not accustomed or at least used to coming into these types of atmospheres and these types of games with the expectation to really come out and just put the foot on the gas. So hard for me to see them really getting close here in the sense of like a win. If not, I don't think it's going to be less than a touchdown of a scorecard. I really do agree with you that I think Oregon's going to really just kind of go pedal to the metal here. But I will be rooting for IU, but my wallet's going to be rooting for Oregon. So it's going to be a win-win situation, really. That's what we call an emotional hedge here at the Cover Story.
Don't get me started.
And we, half of us here love a good emotional hedge. The other half absolutely hates emotional hedges. So you'll be seeing a lot of that throughout our time here on the Cover Story. So I'm looking forward to that because regardless of what happens, I will be happy either outcome, which I know is gross, but you run into it occasionally, and in my opinion, it's the beautiful thing that we get to experience when it comes to betting and being passionate about whatever team we want to support. So that is going to now lead us to our final discussion here on college football, and that is going to be, as I mentioned, my mom, her alma mater, University of Texas at Austin, from the Red River Shootout rivalry, and this is something that I've grown up.
College shootout still wasn't that not PC?
That's a great question. I don't know, but in today's political climate, it's who knows? It's a coin toss at that point. But
I still call it the shootout. I believe they call it the rivalry now.
They just call it the rivalry. Is that what it is? Okay. Well, you know what? We'll call it what you want. It's electric nonetheless. This is like the biggest matchup I grew up my entire life with. My entire year was based around waking up for this Red River rivalry, and being from Dallas myself, that's where the game was always being played growing up at the Cotton Bowl. And wait, that's right?
Yep.
Yeah, at the fair.
At the state fair, dude.
At the state fair.
Go off. Reminisce.
I haven't lived in my hometown in Dallas for quite some time now, so my memory is getting the best of me here. But this nonetheless is still going to be an exciting matchup. I hate to say it, and I know my mom's going to agree with me here. Oklahoma at -1.5. Am I seeing that right, Jack? Is that actually the line for the game right now?
I kid you not. I think Texas is actually favored in that game.
Texas is favored at -1.5.
Let me get the real line on the DraftKings Sportsbook here. The current line. But yes, I believe Texas is favored.
This blows my mind. For all of the Texas fans out there, for anyone that's been following Arch Manning, anyone that's been following college football, I do not understand how this team could even be favored in that line. Now, granted, before this last game against Florida, right, their defense was looking like one of the best in the league. I think statistically they were top 2, maybe even top number 1 in college football. Florida made them look like they were, a Mountain West team at that point. Arch Manning, unfortunately, poor kid. I mean, I can't say poor kid. I think he has like 7 figures, if not 8 figures in the bank account now with NIL. But
I think he's doing just fine for himself, regardless of the NIL money.
That's true. He's a Manning. But the guy is just non-existent. I'm seeing throws that I feel like my alma mater at Colorado State, Fowler, could be hitting. Well, maybe not. He's also trash, but go Rams.
The Rams.
Go Rams, baby. Yep. I don't see. If OU is unfavored, I'd be curious to know what that money line is, because that's something I would probably want to put the house on. Now, having said that, I do love a good comeback story. And with the way Texas has been playing, it would not surprise me that Arch Manning decides to show up on the biggest game of his career to this date, I'd say, and absolutely put on a clinic against the Sooners. If he was going to do it this season, he had some opportunity, of course. Now, Ohio State should have been probably the game for him to show up, because that was him taking the reins for the first time. He's on national television. The whole world's watching him at that point. But he hasn't. If he's going to have that game, it needs to be this game. And I wouldn't put it past him that they show up and he has a hell of a ball game. But everything in instinct, if everything we've looked at that's already happened, if we're looking at all these the statistics, Jack, I'm sure you got some great insights here. But on an emotional standpoint, feel like hammering Oklahoma money line would be the most profitable outcome here, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
So let me give you a taste of what we got here for this. Uh, can confirm right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook, Texas minus 1.5, and if you want to take Oklahoma on the money line, you're looking at minus 102. So essentially,
Even
you're essentially looking at even money right there. Texas
got
money
it.
line at minus 118 if you want to get the extra
Interesting.
point there.
Okay.
But
Hmm.
I love where your head's at. Obviously, they're difficult place to play. Rivalry game. These two teams don't like each other. Throw out the record books, whatever, you know, analogy, mantra, motif you want to throw at this. Is John Mateer going to play? That's the biggest question mark in this
Hmm.
game, I think.
Hmm.
Arch Manning, I don't know what he's going to look like at all.
Yeah.
Agreed. I do know that Texas defense, when it's there, it is very good. Now, on the other side of the ball, the Oklahoma defense is very good. And I think Brett Venables, the head coach at Oklahoma, has finally ceded the reins a little bit in terms of the head coaching position. When he got there, he wanted to do it all. He wanted to have his fingerprints on everything. And, what got him there was his defensive pedigree from when he was at Clemson, working under Dabo Sweeney, or working with Dabo Sweeney, however you want to call it. And I think this year he really put an emphasis on getting back to that and getting back to his roots. And that defense looks great. If you watch that Auburn game a few weeks ago, just unreal performance. They had Jackson Arnold in hell for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen from Arch, is he doesn't really know what he's seeing out there. To quote
No.
old Sam Darnold, I'm seeing ghosts. I think he is struggling to see what the defense is coming at him with. They bring up different schemes and then they're dropping out. They're bringing pressure when they're showing zone. So I think it's going to be hard for him against this Oklahoma defense. If John Mateer plays now, they've been very cagey about his availability this week, especially. So cannot confirm, but if he does play, I think Oklahoma could run away with this. If he does not play, I think it will be a close game. Um, I think the under in that game, which do I take Texas under again? It killed us last week. I don't know,
Yeah.
but 43.5. I mean, that's so low for college football.
I
But
mean,
again,
historically, I want to
rivalry game.
say,
Oof.
yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to look at the last what, like 5, 10 times they played against what the over under ended up seeing. I do think that there's some weight to that. Obviously, we're always talking about it's different players, different team, different schemes, but for this big of an emotional game, I mean, the history between these two and just the pure, honestly, hatred between each other, like it's going to be such a scrappy game. I think regardless of historical outcomes, right? Like there's going to be so much on the line, and people are going to be going absolutely insane on the pitch or on the field, I should say. So I'd be curious to see. I don't know. It's right. You're right, man. The under last week absolutely destroyed us. So
Gun to
it's.
your head. Who you taking?
I'd be curious to know what Oklahoma plus 1.5 was line. What is that?
Well, we're not moving lines right now.
No, well, no,
Gun to
it's
your
it's
head. The gun's getting closer, brother.
You know what? For the sake of my mom, who I love so dearly, and who I rooted for as a kid growing up, I'm gonna have to go with the Longhorns because you know what? Arch is gonna fucking show up on Saturday. I'm calling it now. Put ink to paper. I'm hammering Texas.
All right, all right. Well, we're going to be at odds for that because I think Oklahoma's going to come away with that one in a battle of two SEC stalwarts, the Oklahoma Sooners and the Texas Longhorns.
Gonna be
Um,
a good one.
all right, that's going to wrap up our college football slate. But because you all are listening, you're tuning in, you've made it this far, episode 1. I got 2 specials for you, 2 money line specials. Parlay them if you want, take them as straights. These are my 2. You didn't see this coming. Pick of the week. South Florida, North Texas. Have you ever heard of either of these teams? Probably not. But number 24, South Florida, they were the, kings of the start of the season. They knocked off Florida. They hung tough with Miami. They started off with a win against Boise State, who everyone thought would be back in the playoff. Now they're coming up against North Texas, undefeated North Texas, if you must know. The game is in North Texas. I don't know where North Texas University is. I don't even know if it's university. I do know they are the
buddy?
Mean Green.
North Texas. What's in North Texas?
I have no idea. Dallas? Houston? How big is Texas? It's
Houston?
huge.
Houston? Buddy, have you been to Texas?
Yeah, number of times. But South Florida, they are on the road and they are getting, I believe, 2.5 points. Let me confirm the. It's down to 1.5 now. All right, so the public likes what they see. Take South Florida on the money line. Money line. Take the Bulls to win. Going to beat the Mean Green. And your other pick of the week. This is the square pick of the week from me. It's in LA. Michigan at USC at the Rose Bowl. Absolutely no idea why USC is favored in this game. I think Michigan's the better team all around. They have the better quarterback. That usually means that they're going to be taking that accordingly. So take Michigan, be square. They're the ranked team. USC isn't, whatever. Don't care. Traveling across the country, doesn't matter. Take Michigan, take South Florida, parlay them both, take them straight, doesn't matter. Make some money.
There we go. And North Texas has been making us a lot of money this year so far. So it's an interesting take to now suddenly fade. But if the stars are aligning, obviously we're going to ride those stars as long as we can.
Well, we are. And North Texas has been making us money, but they were taken to overtime by Army. Now, thank you for your service. Shout out to the troops. My father, former member of the Army, but they're not as good as they have been. North Texas barely beat them. I think they gave up like 45 some odd points too. They fumbled when they had the game won. I don't trust them. Take South Florida.
It's a necessary breakup. We have moved on and found better and stronger, and it's going to be a fun parlay to be able to play around with there. But that wraps up our college football. We're going to be, of course, now moving on to the NFL here because we have some pretty exciting matchups, obviously, coming on this tomorrow night, or I should say tonight, that we are
Welcome
posting.
To the podcast
Welcome
game.
to the podcast game.
Time is relative, Mac.
This is of course a learning experience from me. But for tonight, we got a big slate, of course. Eagles Giants NFC East matchup. Being as I mentioned from Dallas and being a part of this particular conference myself, I'm going to be definitely tuning in and very excited to watch this. Now, I'm a little bit torn on this one too, Jack, because I was going into last week thinking, you know what? Our rivals over in New York may actually have something going on there by the name of Jackson Dart. I was full bull on this kid going into Sunday, and he cost me everything. And I can't get over the fact that I thought this guy was actually going to be something moving forward. Now, granted, sure, okay, he had one good week, he had one bad week. It's too early to tell. I'm still just emotionally damaged from that performance on Sunday. And when we look at the Eagles, it's the Eagles, right? I don't see a world where the Giants, after that last week's performance, will be even remotely competitive against the Eagles on Sunday. Or I'm sorry, on tonight. I think -7 is generous. I think it could even be a -13.5, and I think the Eagles would even cover that. But we'd love to hear your insights on this because I'm of course emotionally just way too involved in this one. I want to see both teams just tie. Personally, that would be the best outcome for me as a Cowboys fan. But
well, you the Cowboys, you would know. You have the tie, don't you?
yeah, it would nice that some other ones had one too. You know, that would be that'd be great. Even playing field.
Well, I do have concerns with the Giants, obviously, but I have a lot of concerns with the Eagles too. They have not looked great. I think the offense has a lot of things they need to figure out. The secondary is in shambles, which, maybe a top flight wide receiver like Malik Neighbors could take advantage of. But unfortunately for the Giants, he's got a torn ACL and he is not going to be on the field on Thursday. So, yep, I'm in agreement with you. I think the 7 seems like a safe number to take. It is a short week, so sometimes the Thursday night games get a little murky. But I do think Philadelphia has started to hear a little bit of the noise. They're coming off the loss, short week, bad taste is still in their mouth. Divisional opponent. What better way to right the ship? Beat down the Giants, get a nice little mini bye, enjoy some time. So yes, I think taking the Eagles with the 7 is the good way to go.
Absolutely. And for those that aren't aware or haven't been following our socials, for these primetime games, we're talking Thursday night, we're talking Sunday night, and we're talking Monday night. Something we love to do, and we're going to be floating this around and get everyone's opinion on this, that we might even consider live streaming. We are having a lot of success on live bets, specifically live drive bets for these matchups. So if that's something you're interested in also entailing, getting involved, because I will say there is nothing more electric than hammering a whether it's in this case a Saquon Barkley reception on a drive, because that's typically like a plus 240 money line, if you will. Uh, Things like this, if it's a 10-yard run, a 20-yard pass, we will be hammering these within our social group on DraftKings. So if you join our social group, you'll be able to tail live as we are doing it as well. But maybe we start live streaming this if you want to be able to get insights and maybe just try to follow if you don't have DraftKings available. Would love to hear your guys' opinion if that's something you'd be interested in. But we will be definitely doing a lot of live drive betting on Thursday night.
And hammering responsibly.
And of course, I should say, yes, if you tail responsibly. If you fade,
almost had it.
I was kind of hoping they'd have a little 1-2 punch there. I'd tee you up and then I pretended like I just froze to make it look like it wasn't just a brain fart there. Yeah, if you fade, fine, that's great. Do it. I dare you.
Fade if you dare. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Jesus.
That's all right. Let's stick to the primetime games here, and then we'll run through some of the other kind of marquee matchups. I honestly don't love a lot of the slate this weekend, but that's all right. Let's go to a game that is very attractive to a lot of people. It is the highest total of the week, so people are expecting points. That is Sunday Night Football, Lions at Chiefs. And Mac, let me tell you something. I don't understand Vegas, because Vegas has the Chiefs as a 2.5-point favorite. They just lost to the Jaguars on Monday night, so they're playing a short week. The Lions look like they are one of the best teams in the league, like they have been. Can I give you a stat?
I would love to hear a stat.
Okay. Tell me if this is something that interests you.
Mm-hmm.
This stat is 19-0-1 from its last 20.
We love that.
19-0-1.
Yeah.
And that is the Detroit Lions against the spread the week after scoring 34 plus points. What's crazy is the Detroit Lions have scored 34 plus points 20 times recently. But 19-0-1. So this team is a covering machine. No matter if they score a boatload, no matter if they don't. I think they cover at like an 84% rate over the last 3 years. So I will be taking the Lions. Getting plus 2.5 seems unbelievable, but this Chiefs team, I'm just not sold on. I know they're still waiting to get Rashee Rice back. This is the last week he is still serving his suspension for his little car incident.
Shout out Dallas again.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Lions again. This might be the square play. I don't know. This maybe Vegas knows something I don't, but I get it. Maybe the Chiefs are pissed off after the way that game went on Monday night. I certainly am, because we were all over the Chiefs.
Unbelievable.
But I will be taking the Lions in this game.
Yeah, I you know what? I can only agree with you in this scenario. After what the Chiefs did to us and to many of, I'm sure, you out there, and to the Chiefs Nation fan base, I just, sure, they might want to have a comeback. They might want to have a return, right? But the way the Lions are playing and what Vegas is giving us, it seems too good to be true. But in this case scenario, I feel like this is a full bowl. I mean, I would be down to put 2 units on Lions plus 2.5. Full transparency, if it's a decent money line, which I don't know if you've looked at it, but it seems like that could even be the play in itself. I think they could be able to come out top. If it's plus 120, maybe 135, I might even want to just go straight on that one.
Plus 114 Lions on the money line.
Plus 114. Okay, well then maybe we throw a little parlay. Maybe we do something you guys have, if you've been tailing our picks or following our picks, you'll notice in these kind of scenarios, we love to do a little 2 unit of spread or line, maybe mixed in with an easy reception or an easy yard gain. So I would love, I'm a big tight end guy, Jack, as you know, and my boy Laporta is just really, really consistent when it comes to catching that ball. And I would be willing to put 2 units on Lions money line with a Laporta 5 receptions. I think that's a safe bet there with him. We could obviously be conservative, maybe even go for like buy down to 3. Who knows, depending on what the line comes out to. But I think that in itself would be a very enticing two prop parlay to be able to look at.
We do love our primetime tight end plays.
That we do.
So let's jump to the Monday night doubleheader.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bears at Commanders. Commanders getting 4.5. The over-under is set at 50.5. This one, honestly, I have zero lean on. Not ideal from a betting perspective,
Yeah.
but 4.5 is icky. The Bears, I feel like, are frisky.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson just talked about the Lions. I'm not a huge fan of this Commander defense.
No.
So maybe we just plug our nose and take the over. But to
Well,
be honest,
I don't see. Jaden Daniels is back, right?
Correct. He did play last week.
How did he look? I didn't follow that game at all.
Well, unfortunately, I was at a wedding in New
That
York.
is
Not unfortunately,
true.
congratulations, Liv and Josh, fantastic wedding. But unfortunate for my viewing experience of the weekend, I did not get to watch a lick of this game. But I do know Bill Krosky Merritt was a phenomenal fantasy play for me this week.
Well, there you
It
go.
did me no help against your 189 points or whatever it was.
189. Yeah.
Yep. Congratulations. But I think I like the Bears. I think I like the Bears to cover. I'll give me the commies to win, but I
Yeah.
think 4.5 is just icky.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, with Jaden back, it changes everything completely. Bears right now are so hit or miss. I mean, if Caleb can look like what he looked like a couple weeks ago against the Cowboys, sure, maybe they have a chance. And if that is the case, then yeah, I would maybe be tempted to do the over. The fact that a Bears and Commanders game even is at 50 or that range scares the living hell out of me. I think under would be something I would be much more interested in, uh, just based on how just non-consistent these teams are. Again, in being back does change things. I would also want to look at what Caleb's been doing on primetime in these games, right? Is he showing up on national television? Is he not? That's gonna help. That's gonna help make me make a decision there. Again, as mentioned already, we're gonna be sharing these picks prior to at least an hour before kickoff, or at best before kickoff as much as possible. So you'll be able to see what we end up leaning on. But yeah, it's gonna be toss up. A little bit more research to be done, but as of now, I would say, gun to my head, I would go under and Bears to cover. I like.
Okay, this is a rematch of the Hail Mary game from last year that really sent the Bears into a spiral. If you remember, I believe his name is Tyreek Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
Was celebrating,
Yep.
waving off the Commanders crowd as the ball soared over his head, and the Commanders ended up winning that game. The other Monday night game, Bills at Falcons. Falcons -4.5, which seems like a wild number to me. Sorry, Bills -4.5. That makes a lot more sense. Um, I think this is a get right game for the Bills. Little come back down to earth moment Sunday night as the Pats took them down in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Bills, and I think this is one where they reassert themselves as the big dogs of the AFC.
Yeah, when I saw that line come up, I was a bit shocked. Right, I know like they're coming off of obviously that loss earlier this week or last week, but at 4.5, I just think you got to. Josh Allen's going to be coming correct, and I see them covering that easily. Now over under, I don't know. Falcons, if they get their run game going, which they easily could against the Bills D, the over could be looking pretty promising at that point as well. So that would be something definitely to look more into. But I think if we just want to go with like what I'm most confident in this game, Bills covering 4.5, I think that's easy money.
Amazing. All right. Now we got 3 other games. I'm going to do a rapid fire. I'm going to tell you who it is, the spread, the total. I'm going to ask you to give me your spread, your total, and maybe one little quick hitter into why that works for you. And then after that, I have a 3-leg money line beauty that I will share with the people.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kick off with A fun one we just talked about, the Chiefs going down to the Jags. Seahawks at Jaguars. Jaguars -1.5. Over-unders at 46.5. What do you like?
You know, normally, if you asked me a couple weeks ago, I would say Seahawks, but I was impressed by them earlier this week, and I think the Jags are going to cover 1.5. I'm going to say under, though, for 46.5.
Okay, we do like that Jags defensive unit.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold maybe gets a little too pass happy. I like where your head's at. Jags are tough at home. They're a tough out right now. Liam Cohen's got them moving. Okay, the London game, early 9:30 slate on the East Coast in the morning Sunday. Broncos -7.5 against the Jets. I will say against because at doesn't really make a whole lot of sense there. Total is 43.5. Gross.
Yeah, I'm personally going to want to stay clear of that. And the only reason why is Broncos. I mean, look, last what was that? Last Thursday, or when did they play? That was I'm thinking, maybe I'm thinking 2 weeks ago against Cincinnati. That was 2 Mondays ago, maybe. Answer your question. Broncos covering by a touchdown, more than a touchdown. I can see them winning by 10 pretty easily, right? It's the Jets. I mean, what more can you say? It's difficult to have any hope for that organization. Sorry, Kev. Sorry, Mateo. But I can see the Broncos easily covering, and I think it's going to be an under cover.
Yeah. That is one morning game that I will not mind sleeping in for. So I think I will wake up maybe around, well, I'll be up for the dog, but maybe I turn the game on a little bit later and I'll look up to see the Broncos with a 24-6 lead over the Jets because that team is just awful. And I can't imagine they're really excited to be over in London.
Yeah, since we don't have any Premier League Saturday morning, I will be watching it. But yeah, it's going to be, it's not, I think it's going to be a bit of a snooze fest.
Yeah, well, you won't be watching that game on Saturday morning because it plays on Sunday. So
Sunday,
that will be tough.
dyslexia.
Yeah. Okay. Final game for the little rapid fire here. 49ers at Bucks. This is a fun NFC matchup. Bucks -3 at home. The over-under's at 47.5. Are you taking Mac Jones or are you taking Baker Mayfield? Because I believe it is still Mac Jones, not Brock Purdy.
Taking, oh God, I'm going full bull on Baker, baby. That guy is elite right now, and I am all about it. Granted, he was a Sooner. Wasn't a fan of him in college, but how can you not love Baker Mayfield? He just exerts everything you want to see in a quarterback, and you can see it in the players around him. So I 100% going to be taking Bucks -3. I'm also going to be taking the over. I think it is. I think the 49ers already get a decent amount of points against that Tampa Bay defense, regardless if it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy. I do think they're going to get a lot of run and screen action game going on just to kind of disrupt that backfield. So I'm going to be going Bucks -3 and over on that.
Okay. Bucks still trying to get healthy. The offensive line is still banged up. No Bucky Irving again next weekend.
Don't need him.
And Mike
Baker's
Evans still
slinging that
out.
thing.
Yeah, I will say one thing. Emeka Ibuka,
Yeah.
rookie of the year,
Yeah.
offensive rookie of the year. Yeah, that was a ticket I wish I had. The Bucks look great. I too am going to take the Bucks -3, and I'll side with you with the over. Why not? Why would I ever bet on
Let's
it?
root for some points.
Yeah, we love that. I own
Yeah.
basically the entire Bucks offense in fantasy. Now they're all injured, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now, my three-leg money line parlay that is just chef's
Mm.
kiss comes out to a nice round number.
Mm.
Couple of favorites,
Mm-hmm.
maybe one little iffy pick here, but I'm in on it. And that would be the New England Patriots beating the New Orleans Saints at home
Mm-hmm.
in the Superdome. And it's going to be the Indianapolis Colts at home beating the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals just disastrous week against the Titans. Absolutely fell apart. You got their coach slapping players on the sideline. He got fined $100,000. So that team is in complete disarray. And then we're going to go to Baltimore and we're going to take the Rams as the road favorites. They're getting a touchdown and a half, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But we're going to take them on the money line for this parlay. No Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry forgot how to run the ball ever since he fumbled in that Bills game. And those three legs, Patriots money line, Colts money line, Rams money line comes out to a nice clean plus 150.
Now that is a nice parlay, and we do like that money line. But if I could just, tickle your fancy a little bit here, if we want to get real crazy, you could also be looking at that Cowboys Panthers game. And let's just say we were to add the Dallas Cowboys money line. But we're not going to stop there. What if we wanted to get real crazy here?
Oh boy.
And I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns Pittsburgh Steelers game.
Oh no.
Now the Steelers are favored at the Steelers are favored at minus 5.5, right? You would think Aaron Rodgers should be coming correct. We got a new quarterback in Cleveland. But I don't know. There's a wind to brewing in Cleveland right now. And I look at that defensive line and I look at that offensive line for the Steelers, and I have a feeling the Browns are going to be absolutely dominating that O-line. And just to really make it that much more a bit of enticing on a number here, if we were to add the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns money line, that takes us from a plus 150 3-team parlay to a plus 1,136 5-team parlay.
No. Icarus, no. It's getting too hot in
that's
here.
An Icarus?
We're flying too close to the sun here.
That's an Icarus moment?
The winds coming off Lake Erie are not strong enough for me to sway that. What is quite scary is I actually have the sportsbook up right now, and the Cleveland Browns money line just
went down.
Plus 205.
It was 220 to 205. Are we onto something here? I think, you know what? Let's hear your comments in the chat. For those that watch this or listen to this, we'd love to hear your thoughts. I think the fact that, it just went back up.
Plus 210.
It's now plus 210.
That line is moving, and
food for thought, people. Again, we're going to say that's going to be, if you do go that route, we'll call that, this is an Icarus moment. So something you will learn throughout our podcast days is you're going to be seeing us cook up what we would consider to be a safe bet. But if we then get a bit greedy, we will then add a prop or two, a money line or two. And if you were to look at all the posts and picks we've given you that do not hit, 90% of those are Icarus moments. We add one prop, we add one line that we didn't need to, and it costs us the entire parlay. So, Jack, appreciate you bringing me back down to earth there, man. I was getting a little greedy. Seeing a 4-figure line just got me pretty excited. Although, if you just add the Cowboys, it's plus 298, and that's actually still pretty nice. I might do that, but you'll see our picks on Sunday.
Yeah. 3 legs. That's what we like. 3 legs. It's a sack race. 3 legs. Pats, Colts, Rams. Okay. That wraps up the NFL slate. We're going to do a very quick overview of the MLB here. Obviously, we're recording this Wednesday night. Games are happening, but the Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers are headed back to Seattle for a pivotal Game 5. The Dodgers and the Phillies are playing this evening. Dodgers obviously took the first 2 in Philadelphia. They're up 2-0 with Game 3 being played tonight. The Brewers held court at home, went up 2-0. They dropped a game today to the Cubs to force a Game 4 in Wrigley tomorrow. And the Blue Jays Yankees has been a run fest up until tonight. I have no idea.
It's 4-1 right now, Blue Jays.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
The Blue Jays are looking to close out then. They obviously rolled their first 2 games in Toronto. They went and dropped Game 3 in New York. The Aaron Judge home run that if this game finishes 4-1 Blue Jays, everyone will forget. No one will care about. But that being said, Mac, who's your World Series champion? Who do you like out of these last 8 teams here, which could be down to 6 this evening?
Yeah, I mean, and look, it's not, if for those that know me I am not an expert on baseball by any means. But just from really following these games due to us hemorrhaging money on some of them, I would say just the way Toronto's swinging right now, it's hard not to back these guys up. I mean, they are hitting the ball every single inning, it feels like. So if I were to just go on like what I've been seeing, I think they would be a top choice. But then I feel like you can't count out the Dodgers. I mean, they literally have every all-star essentially in that starting lineup, and they're coming off. They won the last one, didn't they?
They did, in fact, win the World Series last year. Beat the Yankees.
Yeah.
Yes, you are
So,
correct.
I'd say it's going to be either of those.
I am going to side with you on one of them. I do think the Dodgers will be representing the National League.
Hmm.
I am going to ride the wave that is the Seattle Mariners. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh,
Interesting.
60 bombs as a catcher is unbelievable. He had a home run in game 3 where the fan wearing the shirt that said dump here 61 caught it. It was unbelievable. There's something out there in Seattle that is just seeming to be a little team of destiny vibes, little West Coast World Series. I will take the Mariners to beat the Dodgers in the World Series.
There you go.
Yes. And now to some global football action. I know we're a little sparse, but what do you have for us from a little footy perspective?
Yeah, so I'm just going to be very brief. I'm not going to be able to talk specific games. As mentioned, we are on an international break. So there is not going to be any Premier League, any Europa League, any La Liga, anything that we want to be betting on that we typically bet on. What is going on is World Cup qualifiers. So I will be sharing picks for UEFA World Cup qualifiers. I tend to stay away from African World Cup qualifiers, AFCON, if you will. Same thing with Copa America, or I guess not the Copa America tournament, but South American World Cup qualifiers. Um, Full transparency, I think they're all rigged. So I do not touch those by any means. What I will say is I am very bullish on our U.S. men's national team. And I think our first opening friendly
Pocatino.
on Friday is going to be, if looking at our roster, who we brought into training camp, we're missing some key players still, something that I'm truly trying to finally understand what Poach is doing, because at this point, don't know what he's trying to accomplish with this roster, but he actually brought in some decent names this camp, and so I do think we're going to smoke Ecuador on Friday. Put it in the books. That'll be my one pick to give you guys, but be on the lookout going into tomorrow, or I should say tonight. I will be sharing some UEFA World Cup qualifier picks for the weekend as well, so be on the lookout for that.
Okay, two quick questions. One, can we expect you to use accents when saying player names and or leagues like La Liga and Bundesliga going forward? And two, is Tim Weah on the roster?
Tim Weah actually is on the roster, if I'm not
I'm all in
mistaken.
then. USA, hammer it.
Here's my thing: is the one player that we need to be looking out for is my boy Balogun. So this is the English American, plays for Monaco. I think he's our number one striker, and he showed it in our last two friendlies. If he's starting up top, I'm going to be very bullish on that team. Tim Weah, though, has been playing lights out for Marseille, his father's previous club. Really cool to see just from that standpoint. We're still, again, missing players, but we have to. It feels impossible to trust Poach with what he's been doing the last year, but got to trust the guy that's arguably our most qualified manager we've ever had. So it's going to be a very good tune-up to see how we're playing. Pulisic's actually going to be on the squad as well. Captain America will be there, so I feel good about that. But that's going to be a game I will be watching on Friday night.
Dang, stones throw it at my good friend Bruce Arena, and the U.S. owns the World Cup, so yeah, better qualify. I know we already made it. I know.
Better make it out of the group
Okay,
stage, or else I'm lighting the
so
country on fire.
I'd be remiss if we didn't touch on the NHL. Started up last night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who's your Stanley Cup champion? That's all we're going to go for.
Yeah, easy. Should I sing the national anthem to show what team I'm going to be picking? Or no, we don't have time. Dallas Stars are finally going to make the jump. We are officially going to actually get to the pinnacle of success for the National Hockey League. This will be the year that we actually do it. We're not going to lose in the Western Conference Finals. We're not going to lose in the Stanley Cup. We're actually going to go over the hump and take it home, bring it back to the 2-1-4. I will go down to the parade and celebrate with my brothers. It'll be a great time. Looking forward to it.
Okay, well, live pod incoming from the Dallas Stars 2026 Stanley Cup champion parade. Can't wait for that.
Gonna be electric.
You're not going to like this. I'm going to take the Vegas Golden Knights to
Oh
win.
my God.
Yeah,
Why?
because their roster is loaded. Just signed Eichel to a massive contract, so
Yeah,
he's going to be
yeah, I saw
playing
that
free
today.
all year. Yeah, that team is just so good. Bruce Cassidy, Butch, former Bruins coach, leaves, wins Stanley Cup. literally kill me. Bruins
That would
are
happen.
in Bruins are in shambles. That's fine. We don't need to talk about them ever unless it's taking Bruins unders, which better believe we're going to do a lot of that.
Yeah, we got one pacing right now as we speak.
That we do. But yeah, Vegas, they look too good. I know the West is tough, but Florida, I think it gets to a point where they've played too much hockey. They could run out of steam in the postseason this year. Roster in Florida is still phenomenal. Losing Sasha Barkov to a torn
Barkov
ACL,
was that's.
yeah,
I mean, we already saw a little bit of it opening night, right? I mean,
yeah, yep,
yeah.
it's tough. But I mean, that team is still very good, forced to be reckoned with out in the East. But
Mm-hmm.
I think playing deep into the postseason, so many years in a row is going to be hard for them to do. You saw the Lightning do it a couple of years back, just kind of wear out. So I think that's going to be the year off. I will say for Florida, I think their quote unquote dynasty is very much still alive. But yeah, give me Vegas to win again this year.
Amazing. Well, that wraps up all of our sports that we are going to be covering over the next 5-6 days moving forward. So we will be doing this weekly. As Jack mentioned, we're going to be dropping these Thursday before all the action comes into play. Of course, when things start kicking off for other sports, leagues, competitions, we're going to try to be on top of those as much as possible. Please follow our socials, Instagram, X. We're going to be on TikTok as well. Jack, feel free to mention anyone's. I'm not mentioning at this point, but we are looking forward to going on this journey with you all. Thank you so much for joining and listening in. I assure you, this is our first episode. We will only improve, and we will make sure that we're not going to go over an hour.
Obviously, really appreciate everyone for listening. The socials at the cover story _pod. You can get us on Apple, you can get us on Spotify, YouTube, you can watch it. And we're gonna have a lot of fun with this, and we'll probably bring on some guests here and there once we get in motion. And yeah, there's plenty more to come. Be sure to follow the socials so you can get up to date picks from us, and join our DK sports betting community. Just search at the cover story, and we also have that linked out in our Instagram and Twitter bios. So be sure to jump in on that. You'll never miss any of our picks. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps episode 1. Again, thank you all for listening. And as always, tail responsibly, fade if you dare.
Let's go.